back to Unladylike Opinions. This is Queen Sugar, Queen Sugar, season 6, episode 6, or maybe just stay there. So the episode starts off with, Charlie FaceTiming with Davis and telling him about what she told the people about running for senator. And she wants to take some time to relax and, work out. And she tells Davis that he is putting her to shame, and he said he got to work out with the women players he is coaching and says how good they are. And Charlie was like, start flirting with him, was like, you look good too. And they had this little, I wouldn't say phone sex, but because they were still close. But they had this little cute little moment. So Charlie said, Charlie and Vi is over there laughing at Noah's feet, and they are having a spa day, and she tells Vi, and Nova tells Vi, not everybody has a Hollywood that paint their toes and suck their feet. And I'm like, damn, Hollywood do everything, don't it? And Charlie said that they need to do this more often and make time for each other. And the spa day was Davis' idea. The at-home spa day was Davis' idea. And she said every time she mentions Davis' name, they give her this look. And everybody said, because you done mentioned his name like 5 times since you done been here. And she said she feels more free this time around. And she doesn't have to be perfect like she did in college. And Vi, hollers out, sprung. And Charlie phone buzzes and she has to run off. Ain't no telling what this is about. So Ralph Angel and Darla are relaxing by the pool, and he tells Darla that she looks like Rihanna be looking when she be on them yachts. And she thanks him for bringing her there, and she says she's sorry for doubting him before, and cause she just wanted to show up for him like he always does for her. And he was like, you do, and that's why you are getting spoiled this week. So she was like, well, I need a drink and some snack. Riri needs a drink and a snack. And he was like, okay, Riri. So Charlie walks in with his meeting and at a restaurant, and he said that her Gayle King interview made some big waves and they were impressed, but they didn't anticipate the reaction that they was getting. And now I'm like, here we go. So he said the way that people reacted, they no longer want her to run for Louisiana State Senate. She said she was sorry to hear that, and she knows she would have been a great state senator, but she owned her story and she held her power, and she would never apologize for that. She said, y'all say y'all want more progressive black women running for office in the South. But when we do, y'all try to fit us in this box that you designed for us. And she gets ready to walk out, and he, stops her and was like, he said that this meeting is to share that the party will support you into running for United States Congress in 2022. And she looking like, say what? And she all shocked and pale in the face. And, you see Nova over there making a call, telling Liza to queue up, her editor's call. And she is taking the rest of the week off. And she lays down and takes her a little nap. And then all you hear, boom, 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 boom. It's the cop busting in with guns drawn on her and saying they got a warrant to search for narcotics. And they start just tearing her house up and threw some papers on the floor, and he stepped all on them and said ain't nothing here but a bunch of liberal trash. So they trying to manhandle her and asking how she can afford. He asked her how she can afford a place like this by herself. Like women can't take care of boy. So and he asked if she is taking money from the movement like her friends. And Nova said, I work hard. I have speaking engagements. My book was the New York Times bestseller list, and my website gets over 2 million unique impressions a month. And he says, yeah, a professional S-starter, S-H-I-T. And he writes it down. Ooh, I spell rights with an R. Don't judge me. I was typing fast. And Michael and his friends are coming out of a movie screening. And he said he is enjoying seeing Michael do better. Michael asked if he wants to get lunch, but his friend was like, I found out the friend name is Isaiah. And Isaiah was like, he is meeting with someone he is into, and Micah said, so what is their name? And he was like, why? And he said, if it's someone that you is into, I think I should look them up and see if they meet my approval. So he was like, okay, Mr. I date older women. And so they laugh and, walk off. So the nurse got Prosper over there working out, and Billy walks in and said, go Daddy. And they count him down with him doing his little reps. And Prosper said, yeah, I still got it. Billy says she is headed out, and he tells her she asks if he need anything, then he tells her, no, be careful. And she was like, the speed limit is like 5 minutes, it's like 5 miles here. And the nurse said, at least give us country folks 10 miles. And she said she was going to grab some supper so they can have a father-daughter day later on. So then you see Hollywood taking Gabriel to get a haircut. When the barber tells him the sheriff came in earlier looking for, Ralph Angel to talk to him about his buddy Theo. And Hollywood calls Ralph Angel. Well, he said the sheriff said he was going to come back and talk to Hollywood. So Hollywood calls Ralph Angel, and he tells him that Theo got arrested. And he says he wants to get it covered for him, but he said he wants to cover for him, but he is not lying for Theo because he got me and my business mixed up in some mess. So Ralph he don't know what to say, and Hollywood was like, why would he say he was here with you? And Ralph talking about he don't know, he just did some work for him. Hollywood was like, what kind of work you did, and is it gonna come back to hunt you? And Ralph says, I would handle it, and he would get back. He would handle it when he get back home, and he hangs up the phone. And I'm like, yeah, you done messed up with everybody, like, stupid. So Hollywood takes Gabriel back home, and he shows Celine his haircut, and she likes it and tells him to go upstairs, and she will give him some of the pie or whatever. And he runs over and thanks Hollywood for making him look fresh. And Celine thanks him for being there, and she tells him how he used to cry for his dad, and now he barely mentions him. She says she is glad that he has a good man in his life, and she wish she did too. While she rubbing on his chest, and he reached in to hug her, like push her off, like, okay, I'm gonna go and tell her goodbye. But she tries to kiss him, and he jumped back and said, hell no, I didn't come here for all that. You do have somebody that's good in your life, and that is Vi. She said she was sorry, and he said, no, you are out of line, especially after all that woman has done for you, and this how you repay her. And this when she runs off and runs back upstairs to her hotel room crying. Man, when I tell you the way he defended Vi, I was like, phew, this old Ryan acting heifer. So Nova is sitting on her step when Dominic comes up, and he asks if she was okay. And they said, you don't stay here. Why are you right here? And he said, well, I'm a concerned neighbor and of this community. And he tries to pull out his phone and record. Big mistake. And they threw him to the ground, and Nova tries to come tell him, like, that's just his camera, that's just his phone. And they throw her tail to the ground too. And big badass Nova on the ground about to start crying when Dominic looks at her and said, look at me, don't give them that power, focus on me. So he said, we are okay. And she repeats it back to him and says, yes, we are okay. So the other neighbors was over there recording, and when the cop noticed them, and he talking about this just a routine search, and then he tells Nova and Dominic to sit up. And he whispered something to the other cop, and I bet you he whispered that, to shut it down because they know they done messed up now that they see that everybody was recording. So Hollywood arrives at home where Vi is, and he tells her he had something to tell her. And she said, look, you're making me nervous. And he said he doesn't know a good way to say it, and he tells her Celine tried to kiss him. and that she has issues. That is pissed and hurt at the same time. And she was like, after all I have done for her. And Hollywood said, that's what I was saying. And here go, and this what Vi lost me. How she gets so close to you to do that. And Hollywood said she leaned in and found herself in a place she wasn't wanted or invited to. And I'm like, yes, Hollywood. Like, for real. One of y'all out there, go find me, you know, a man like Hollywood. Like, this time I'm for real. I'm not playing. Okay? All right. So, he said he only got a sweet tooth for one kind of dessert, and that's you, period. So she said she knows that, and let's go to Prosper, but we gonna make a stop first. And I'm like, we about to see a girl fight. We about to throw them blows. We about to swing them things. I'm ready to see this girl fight. So, Charlie's walking around at the park, and she sits on a bench, and she notices a couple having a picnic, and she gets ready to call Davis, but as she's getting ready to call him, he calls her. So she tells him she had a meeting with the party, you know, the party reps, and she was sitting at the park, and she asked him to meet her. She's sitting at the same park that she asked him to meet her at a few months ago, and it makes her feel close to him. And he says he misses her, and she asks will he have time to come visit before he gets started over there. And he says he couldn't because he had a lot of prep going on, and he asked if she can come visit him. And she said she loved the sun in LA. And he said the coaching job doesn't mean as much if it's going to keep them apart. And she is speechless. And he was like, I've never seen Charlie Bartolone speechless. She said she just wanted to figure out how to make it all happen. And he said he is thinking too, it's not all on her. And he blows her a kiss, and they end the call. So Mike is playing cards with the other boys, and Isaiah walks in and takes one of the guys' spots. And the guy said, look at the partners putting out matching cards. Michael was like, that's how you play spades, by not cutting your partner off. And you would know that if you actually know how to win. See, I don't know how to play cards, so I don't know what he was talking about. But, and then I went to a school that's all they did was play spades. And that's a shame, I don't know how to play. But anyway, Michael was, and then the dude hollered out, yeah, y'all do make great partners. You just don't go all Brokeback Mountain after the game. And Micah pops up, and Isaiah hollers, seriously? And Mike was like, what is the problem? And Isaiah said, that's why we just took your queen, another woman begging to get rid of your ass. And he said he saw a water bug running away from Kirk the other day, and it had to be a woman because all the women on campus run from him when they see him. Even his hairline is running away. Read him all the way together. And Hollywood is waiting outside for Vi. And she comes back in and says that Celine and Gabriel are gone. And I was like, damn, I thought I was going to see me a fight. But Vi said that this isn't good. She doesn't have much money, and she can't use her credit card because her husband, you know, will find her. And Hollywood was like, so do you think she went back to her husband? And Vi was like, Dad, I hope not. I don't want to think about that right now. And she was like, why folks just can't act right? Why are you feeling sorry for her is what I want to know. Slap that hoe. Okay, my bad. And, I'm back. So, back at Nova's, they come out the house with this little frowsy Ziploc bag of weed, thinking they got something. And Nova said, I have a prescription for that. Okay, and bam. So they take her away anyway. And Dominic says he gonna watch the house and make sure they don't pull nothing else. And does she have anyone she wants him to call? And he was like, he'll be down there to meet her, you know, when he leave, when he finished watching them. So Ralph Angel over there staring into the air while Darla is going on and on about the food that she was ready to eat, and he ain't heard nothing she said. She walks over and asks, was he okay? And he said, yeah. And she tells him, you know, I know you, and I know when something ain't right. And he said he lied to her and said he had everything under the control, and the cane was no good. You know, the sugar cane, or the form he did. He said the cane was no good, so Theo offered him a job, and all he had to do was drive. He said no the first time, and then the soil came back poison, and then the bones popping up. So he drove the car, and Theo got arrested. And he doesn't know what all they know about him. And he just needed space to breathe, and he tries to hold her hand, but she snatches away, and he wants her to understand, and she says she has begged him to tell her the truth, and he chose to lie and make her feel like she was wrong. And then that's when you see a knock on the door, but it was the food delivery, and she is like, this is what it's gonna be like, living in constant fear, looking over our shoulders. And he gets up and get the door. Michael meets up with Charlie, and he asks what was up, and she said, the party wants her to run for Congress, and she would step into the hot spotlight again, and all of them will be in the spotlight as well. And he said he can handle it, but she says she might have to go run in California. He asks where does she stand on this, and does his dad play a part in it? And she says she went her whole life choosing between love and ambition, and she doesn't know how to feel about it yet. He asks if he can help, but she says no, and asks how he is feeling. He said he feels like the fog is finally clearing. And she tells him that she is never too busy for him if he needs her. And he tells her he has people there at school to help him, and Isaiah has become one of his best friends. And he said Isaiah actually listens to him, and he admires him for that. Charlie asked him to invite him to dinner, and he said, he would love that. And he said the guys were talking about them because they are close, and Isaiah might be gay, queer, but he doesn't know. And Charlie said, what do y'all talk about? And he says a lot of things, but him being gay hasn't come up. And she tells him that it is okay, and she loves and support him no matter what. He thinks it's corny that men can't be close without somebody saying that they're gay. So what if he is queer or I'm queer? He is my brother. And Charlie tells him haters gonna come everywhere. Some people just can't take your free spirit, and because they aren't free. She said as you get older, it's harder finding real friends and relationships, but when you do find them, you hold on to it and tell the haters to kiss your ass. I know what you mean, because good Lord, I can't hold a friend or a man for nothing. Don't get me wrong, I can hold one if I wanted to. Disclaimer. But so Prosper and Billy are having them a nice dinner, daddy-daughter dinner, and Billy tells him not to fill up on the bread, because he was tearing that bread up, and she said that was his second piece. And he said she was like not to fill on the bread because she has what did she say it was? Tiramisu, some nasty mess my mama like. And he said, since we treating ourselves, let me go get some wine. And she was like, And then you hear a knock at the door, and it's Hollywood and Vi. He said, he looked at her and said, I forgot I told them to stop by. And they came in. Vi must got a key or something, because she just walked on in. And he was like, I forgot I told them to stop by. And Billy's looking disgusted. And they have a pie, because he told everybody he wanted a pie. And Hollywood asked if they was disturbing something, and Prosper said, no, why don't you guys stay? And I'm like, Prosper, come on now, read the room. So Hollywood read the room. It was like, no, we just gonna head out, and here go Vi. That sounds good. And Billy said, y'all gonna stay and have some pie. And here go Vi talking about something. Is something wrong with my pie, Billy? Billy said, of course not. I didn't mean it. I didn't mean anything bad. And Vi was like, sounds like you did. And I'm like, get up. So Billy said, we was finally spending time together, but y'all go ahead. So Prosper said, we are all family. And they both said at the same time, Billy and Vi, we are not family. And Hollywood said we was gonna head out. Hold on. Allergies. He said we gonna head out, and Vi said, no, I done had it up the hill with her and her disrespect. So and I'm like, get her, Billy. Get her. I'm on your side this time because Aunt Vi is getting on my nerve right now. And I think I need you to tell her the truth about Jimmy Dale. So Billy said, why can't you respect my relationship with my father? And Aunt Vi said, you didn't respect my marriage. And Hollywood said, now hold on, man. Me and Billy ain't got nothing going on. I'm like, Hollywood, you knew damn well she wasn't talking about you. I don't understand why she's still talking about this abusive relationship she was in years ago. I don't know why she's still talking about it. But, you know, I guess it still hurt. So, Billy said, she was like, Hollywood ain't talking about you. And Billy said, over 20 years, I have let you paint yourself as a victim. And Jimmy Dale has hurt me too. She said, a grown-ass man tried to force himself onto me. And when I fought back, his ego was so bruised, he spread vicious lies about me. I was a child, and I deserved for the adults in my life to believe me and protect me. But they hurt me more than the perpetuous lies that he told. And she said, I understand you felt like you was cheated on, but did you ever stop to ask me if what you was hearing was true? And Vi sitting there with egg all over her face, and, you know, Billy runs off, and she tries to, like, go after him, and Hollywood was like, And he tells Prosper, we gonna go. So Charlie arrives at the bar and sees Billy sitting there and asks if she is okay. And Billy said, yeah, when I get another drink. She said she hates whiskey, but it's her dad's favorite, but she never could get into it, but because it tastes like struggle, but it gets her wasted. So Charlie said Prosper asked her to find her, and he was worried. Billy said she didn't believe it. So Charlie says, when you let shame and hurt run you out of your home, people never get to see how hard you fought to survive and become who you are now. And Billy said, so you know too? And Charlie said she know what it feels like to let past secrets, to have shame over past secrets. She tried to drain them out the same way, because you know when the stuff happened to David, she was out there sloppy drunk. And but she said it all come back to surface, and Billy and Aunt Vi was the one who brought it back to surface. And Charlie said, and she was wrong for that. She said she is just too wrapped up in her pain, but that's her journey. And she tells Billy she has to deal with the pain and surviving it. Surviving isn't just about moving past her pain, it's how you harness it. She said Billy has made a great life in Chicago, raising 2 beautiful children. She tells her she is a good daughter and a survivor. There is no shame in that. So Nova is over there, you know, asking God to cover her and give her the strength and resilience to, you know, get through this, because she's sitting there waiting in the interrogation room. The officer comes in and asks if she's ready to talk. Nova said, you done came in here, I done been in here for 4 hours. You done came in here every 30 minutes. That is 8 times. And this is interrogation tactic 101. And every hour you keep me unlawfully here, it's going to cost the city of New Orleans taxpayers dollars when I sue y'all ass. So she said the quarter amount of weed you found is a misdemeanor, where normally I would be ticketed and fined based on the state law. And as I stated before, I have a medical use card, and you knew that because I keep it in the same place that I keep my marijuana, where you found it at. And this is the state abusing its power and punishing me for my voice. And I'm tired of this harassment, and yes, I'm ready to go home. Release me now. And they release her. Now, this is the Nova Bordelon that I know and remember. The one I like sometimes. But, you know, Dominic walks up to her as she's walking out. She takes a big, deep breath because she did it. And she was scared, but she did it. And she said, oh, you waited? And he was like, I told you I'd be there for you. And the episode goes off. And I can't wait to see next episode to see what's going to happen with Ralph Angel. And then he got to turn to the Landrys. Oh, my God. But, you know, I'll see you guys next week. Hopefully, I have a camera by then and my videos won't be late, because I don't know what's up with my Wi-Fi. It takes forever to upload. But like, comment, share, subscribe, and I will talk to you guys later. Goodbye.